didn't make my list, but I feel like I've done him a bit dirty there.
Shock.
Southgate's been brilliant, you know. Or is he might be top of your list? You never know.
They haven't even got out of second gear or first gear, or they haven't even got off the drive yet.
He might look good, but come on, he can't be scoring an own goal and getting praised for it.
And the cracking one from Turkey yesterday was a great howler.
Right, today we are going to discuss our top 5 winners of Euro 2024 so far in each of our own orders. I'll kick things off. In 5th place for me, I went Austria. Not many people gave much of Reece. I know you did give him a dark horse pick potentially, but I've liked how they're looking so far. I think they were solid in their opening game against France, and they beat Poland convincingly as well. So for me, looking good, got an outside chance. So yeah, number 5 for me.
Number 5 for me, I've gone completely different route to you picking sort of, a team of Austria. I've gone own goals. Own goals, I think, should be the 5th biggest winner of this tournament. Currently leading the Golden Boot race with 6 own goals. And the cracking one from Turkey yesterday was a great howler. And I think that's a great win for own goals because, goes out of fashion a bit.
That's true. They're not an official registered team, but you got to give them a shout out. Reece, who you gone for in 5?
Yep, I've not gone for a country or an own goal. Well, it is linked to own goals in a way. I've gone for Riccardo Calafiori of Italy. The centre-back who was written off by Mourinho has actually been very impressive. The guy has been linked to Liverpool in recent days. His performances have been great. Despite that own goal against Spain, we can't knock how good he's been, and it looks like he's got a bright future, as well as he's got the haircut of a peak 2000s Italian defender. He looks good.
He might look good, but come on, you can't be scoring an own goal and getting praised for it. Look, he's highly rated. I've seen a lot of links to big clubs, but I don't know. Not for me. He wouldn't feature for me in the top 5 anyway. I'll go 4th. I've got a team again, Switzerland. Now, look, obviously we are filming this before the conclusion of Group A, but currently they're 2nd. They're looking great, very, very likely to qualify, and they just look a level above, in my opinion. I know they've got the draw, but again, against Hungary, I just thought they looked sublime. You got Shaqiri coming out, as he always does at tournament football, scoring a goal, scoring a banger. And I think that makes it now 6 consecutive tournaments he's scored in, which is an incredible record. So yeah, Switzerland / Shaqiri.
To be fair, Switzerland, I think a lot of people were thinking Scotland were going to go through or Hungary, and Switzerland looked poor in the qualifiers. So the fact that they're actually 2nd, highly likely to go through, is probably a testament to them. I've gone with a different team in my sort of 5th place, and that's Albania. Now it looks like they're probably going to go out. Don't get me wrong; it's not they're going to win the competition, but they're in the group of Croatia, Italy, Spain. They gave Italy, a bit of run for their money, a scare by scoring 23 seconds in, and Italy did only win that game 2-1. I think Italy could have turned it on a bit more, but the 2-1 loss by Albania standards probably quite good. And then the 2-2 versus Croatia, which was a fantastic game, and Albania deserved a draw. They were brilliant throughout it, and this is the team that we thought were going to get stuffed in all 3 of their games and be out and just sort of, thanks for coming, you can go home now kind of team. But I think they've done brilliantly so far.
Yeah, very good shout, actually. Group of death, but they're looking all right. And as I said, Croatia, Albania, probably one of the better games of the tournament. So, yeah, good shout putting Albania in, actually. They didn't make my list, but I feel like I've done them a bit dirty there. Reece, over to you.
Yep, from defenders to now countries, I've actually gone for Germany. The reason I put them so low down is because it's no shock that they're doing so well. 7 goals in 2 games. They've averaged 65.5% possession. Their passing accuracy is 94%. They have controlled the 2 games they've played. You can mock whoever they've played, whatever you like, but they have been dominant. They haven't even got out of second gear or first gear, or they haven't even got off the drive yet. Do you know what I mean? it's looking that good with them. They are probably tactically the best team in this competition. And yeah, I've been impressed. I've not been shocked, hence why I've not put them first, but I've been impressed by how they've played, and Nagelsmann's really showing what he's capable of as a manager and a coach.
Germany are more tactical inclined than England. What? Sure.
Shock.
I thought Southgate's been brilliant, you know. Or is he might be top of your list. You never know.
Don't be too harsh on Southgate.
No, look, I think we got to give a shout out to Musiala as well. Sensational so far. Standout player in my opinion for Germany as well. And technically ranking joint top of the actual players who are on the Golden Boot. So, all right, let's talk third position, bronze medal. For me, I've gone for a bit of an outsider this one that has impressed me, and I've gone for Romania. Now, again, if you looked probably at bookies odds, if you looked at what most people would say in that group, you'd say as a banker, Belgium should cruise through, which obviously we've seen hasn't been so easy so far. And you'd probably say Ukraine is that other team. Now, they absolutely battered Ukraine in the opener. And no one expected that, but they absolutely deserved it. Not only was there a screamer here and there, they were clinical, they looked brilliant. And I don't think anyone really took them seriously before this tournament. And even we saw against Belgium, yes, they didn't get the win. But for the whole entire game, really, until very late at the end, they were in that game and they were threatening Belgium. Belgium, as we said, are one of the big teams, as we know. So I think they've really impressed me. And they've still got a chance, potentially, of going through, which will be against the odds. And yeah, I think they've done incredibly well.
To be fair, I have to agree. Third was Romania for me as well. I thought the Ukraine game, they were absolutely brilliant. And it was sort of the reverse. We were expecting Ukraine to probably batter Romania. And Romania's sort of like, when I was looking at them before the tournament, I was like, they won their group. They just didn't score many goals. And you thought that's probably going to be their downfall because you need goals in these quick games. However, they didn't lose before the tournament, in the group, like the qualifiers, sorry. But yeah, I still think I didn't expect them to do that well and be in contention of going through on the last day of the game week, sort of the group stages. So yeah, they've been brilliant. I thought something that I think Romanians sort of, it's sort of like something to enjoy. It's more like we're not going to win the tournament, but we're going to give every game a good go, and that's exactly what they've done. And I think they can be, no matter probably what happens in the third game against Belgium, their heads can be massively sort of high going back home if they actually do.
Yeah, I think there's all to play for, isn't there, for Romania? And I think if you can't beat them tactically, just give it a go. Like, there's no point trying to be as tactically good as the other teams if you're not. So we can't knock it. I've actually gone for Austria as my third choice, my bronze medal. I know I flagged about Austria being a potential dark horse, and it's great to see them doing well. I mean, they only lost to France through an own goal, but they were very, very good the other day. They were comfortable. They were very, 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 very comfortable, and they're impressive. They've got players that are just, again, they're giving it a go. They beat Poland comfortably, and it set them up for potentially getting through. So yeah, you can't knock their performances either.
Agreed. Right, silver medal, position 2. I have gone for, well, a team, obviously, but more of a general point I want to make. Portugal. Yes, we know they were probably among the top 3, top 4 favourites, but they've secured back-to-back wins, a good late comeback, which obviously, always, as we know in tournament football, is always good for the confidence. Obviously, beating Turkey, although it was an open game, at the end of the day, a 3-0 win is a 3-0 win. And it doesn't matter. When that looks on the league table, it looks like a dominant win. So we know they're already through. They're looking good, but possibly the biggest win of the tournament, the most surprising, was Ronaldo one-on-one passing the ball to Bruno Fernandes. That may be the most shocking thing we've seen in the tournament. Couldn't believe it, and maybe that shows why they are, in my top 2. The fact that there is some form of team chemistry from, two fairly traditionally selfish players. So yeah, I never thought I'd see the day.
I'm sure Ronaldo was angry that Bruno didn't pass back, but that might be just me spreading rumours, kind of thing. The reason why I don't have Portugal in my 5 is because you expect them to beat these two teams. Really, it's not like they've. I think that against Czech Republic they were resilient. They weren't. It was sort of like just the attacking was good, but it weren't great either. And it came through sort of like the first goal was a bit lucky, and then that I think that just pushed them on to be able to get the second goal. Against Turkey, I thought they did well for the first goal, but then the second goal, that disastrous own goal, kind of ended the competition in that game, which isn't Portugal's fault, but it was gifted to them in that part of it. I wouldn't say they've overly impressed, but I wouldn't say they've under impressed either. It's just kind of, I think, probably not in my top 5. But going on to my number 2 then is, to be honest, I agree with what Reece said, is Germany. Because I think Germany had some stick before the tournament. They weren't sort of like people like you're not the Germany of old. You're not, and people were sort of putting them towards the latest stage of the competition, but they thought they're probably not going to win it. And to be honest, I had them as big as disappointments. So the fact is they've turned around my opinion of them, and I think they dismantled Scotland with no problem. And even in the second game, I think on another day they would have scored a couple more. It was kind of one of them results where some of the balls just didn't go in for them, but they still easily won, I thought. So yeah, Germany would be my number 2.
Fair enough. My number 2 has actually been Group E. Okay, Group E. The reason for that, as I know we touched upon them a little while ago, that's because it's the one game left and all 4 teams are on 3 points. You don't really get that. It's either settled by now or, one team has a chance. All 3 teams have a chance. Obviously, 2 can go through automatically because they're all playing each other. So much is riding on it. And I think that's so cool, knowing that these teams have no choice but to go for it. They can't rely on the other team to do them a favour. They have to rely on themselves, which is really important. They have to deliver it themselves. And it's going to be interesting to see how it goes, because we might get some freak scores out of this where teams have to just go absolutely throw the jugular. So Group E for me has been the most interesting. Second most interesting in my list, but going to be really cool to see. And I think it's going to be the most exciting, probably, finale to the group stage.
The thing with that group is if sort of say 2 teams lose, that third place probably doesn't get through. It's normally like 4 points gets you through. So it's sort of like massive stakes. Like some they may even just sort of have to go right 5 minutes before the end. We might need to just go we're drawing, because that will get us through. Maybe not get the favourable draws, but gets you through. So I think it's going to be quite interesting, just sort of like how teams tactically set themselves up, because maybe they go gun ho for the first 45 minutes. See, it's probably just, it could be even, and then we might shut up shop. So it could be boring, to be fair, for the latter part of it, because they're just trying to work out what's best for them in the whole tournament. But yeah, I think teams will go gun ho in that group.
Yeah, I wanted to
Romania.
Yeah, I wanted to spotlight this one for that reason. Is the spotlight's on Belgium. If they want to show they can win it, they have to get out of this sticky situation. They can't rest players. They can't, go 1-0 and maybe just start passing it around. They've got no choice but to go for it. Romania have already shown that they can go for it. Ukraine have shown they can go for it. Slovakia can show they can go for it. So they're probably quite nervous because they know it's do or die for them. For this golden generation, could be on its last knockings. And I think I rate Tedesco highly, but Belgium could be in trouble here if they're not careful. But it's a golden opportunity for the other 2 who aren't playing Belgium as well. So
And look, I think this is a good time to remind everyone of my disappointment pick for the Euros. Despite them having the easiest group, it was Belgium, and here they are on the last day struggling to potentially even qualify. So yeah, I do probably think they will get through, but I think it's an interesting one, and I do probably agree that the whole of Group E is a winner in itself, I guess. Let's talk winners then. Let's talk gold medals. So this may be a boring or an obvious one, but I've gone for Spain. They are looking fantastic. And more importantly, they're looking fantastic on paper and on the pitch. No goals conceded. And again, from my bias side, you saw, I don't know if you saw the comments of basically Gary Neville going, with Cucurella left back, there's no way they're going to be able to win this tournament. And then they've kept 2 clean sheets. He's had 2 brilliant games. But as a whole team, they've yes, only beat Italy 1-0, but they absolutely took Italy apart. And I know, yes, it was an own goal, whatever. You look at the stats, and they absolutely battered Italy. On top of that, they've then got tricky Croatia, who they beat 3-0. They were arguably more dominant against Italy, but look, they're through in the group of death. 2 out of 2 wins, no goals conceded. I think they're looking the best at the minute.
I have to agree. To be honest, they're my number one. It's a bit boring agreeing. I don't want to agree with Jordan all the time. But yeah, look, you go and beat Croatia 3-0 and they look so comfortable in that game. And I think it was kind of Croatia didn't know what hit them either. And then against Italy, much the better side, top of the group, which is meant to be the group of death. This is the group we're expecting, the last game of the sort of group stages to be the ones where it's still all alive, but not Spain. Spain can rest players. They've got Rodri suspended, but it doesn't matter. They can put their sort of backup 11 on against Albania, and it doesn't really matter. And I think that's a testament to them. And it's whether they can keep going in this, because they're showing they can do it against the better half of teams. Can they keep going? And would this rest actually help them, or could it backfire in a way? That's the only risk they might have. But at the moment, yeah, they've looked brilliant for me.
Yeah, I've not gone for Spain, but to give context to the point, I think that's a very harsh thing to say about Cucurella. He's not a bad player, but if you look at who he's got alongside him in defence to choose from, he's got natural born winners and leaders. Carvajal, Nacho, Laporte. He's got some excellent players there. They've got a good goalkeeper. They've got a good midfield. They've got a good mix of players in there, which I think is really interesting. Ferran Torres, they've still got Yamal is showing what he's capable of. Nico Williams is showing what he's capable of. There's some good players there, but I still think there's going to be that aspect where they'll come up short. If they're going to win it, they're going to ride their luck. But I think Germany would be able to beat them, for example. But I've not been shocked at their top of the group because I didn't think Italy were that good. And they're probably in the team the best position to rest now because they can just chill out. But we can't knock yet how good they've been. They have torn 2 teams apart, and I think Albania will probably be a little bit worried or a little bit relieved that Spain don't have to actually qualify now.
Well, that's a very interesting point, actually, because this does potentially impact the dynamic of that group as well. If Spain will rest players, they're still clearly going to be favourites against Albania. But Albania, with a point, if they somehow upset the odds, they could then be going through in the group of death. Imagine those scenes. Yeah. Imagine if they got through and Italy didn't. It'd be absolutely incredible. And we'd have to probably change this whole podcast because Albanians would be the winners.
But yeah, I've not gone for Spain because I've actually gone for their neighbours first. I've actually gone Portugal first. The reason for this is because I've been quite critical of Portugal for a long time. I was critical of the Martinez appointment. I've been critical of a team that seemed to have some good players and still don't deliver. They seem to scrape 1-0 quite a lot. A win's a win, but you can't do that all the time. I was critical of the aspect, as much as I love Cristiano Ronaldo, I thought he was their most important player, but also their most important, I suppose, vice. You take him out of the team, they probably are a bit more dynamic because they don't need to keep giving him the ball. But what you mentioned earlier was an interesting point. He passed it. And that to me shows that maybe he's realized that, you know what, I've done it. It's now time to have a more team effort. They showed resilience to get past the Czech Republic, right? They got there. They got there in the end. That's important. It's wins like that win you trophies. They won all their qualifying games. Again, I took that as a so what. I still think they'll bottle it, but impressive nonetheless. They were good against Turkey. Yes, Turkey had 7 seconds of madness, but they did it. They were there to well, it was a mistake, but if you don't get up that pitch, they're not going to make that mistake at the back. So can't knock it. Again, Ronaldo's pass key. There's more of a team effort there. They're going to start moving the ball around. It's important. It's important. Teams now know, oh, if Ronaldo's off it, we're going to be fine. Not anymore. Because Bruno Fernandes is there. Pepe is not, doesn't look a day over 25, let alone 40. We've got Diego Costa in goal, who I think is an outstanding goalkeeper. Diego Jota to bring on when he's fit. Good player. They've got a good team. And they've impressed me by their resilience and their class. And I think they could be a real threat towards the latter stages. So I think that's why I've given them number one. They've proved me wrong, particularly.
Just to counter that again, I know I seem to be negative on Portugal when, it's more what you're saying, Reece, is a win's a win, and they were unbeaten in the knockout, the group qualifiers, and now unbeaten in this. Shouldn't they do that? Because if you look at their group that they had in the qualifiers, that was very underwhelming. This group, they should be beating all these teams. So that's what I don't find it that sort of surprising that they're doing this. But what if they come up against a Spain, Italy, Germany, England? I know England haven't looked great, but
Belgium though. It's like with Belgium, like Belgium should have won both games, but they didn't. Like, you've still got to go and do it. You've still got to overcome adversity. Yes, Turkey did, score an own goal, but Turkey threatened, and they've fought back. They've kept a clean sheet still, and Turkey were technically, in many people's eyes, the toughest team in their group. So I don't know. I do think they deserve a shout out here.
Yeah, I get the counter argument to it, because to me, yes, they should win all 10 games in the qualifiers. But the fact they did, not many teams would. Most teams would either take their foot off the gas, rest a few players. They still did it. And that to me shows something that they want to win, if you know, as silly as that sounds. And that resilience against Czech Republic was massive. How many times have we seen Portugal lose that or scrape a draw? They kept going, they got the goal, and then they were like, right, let's close it out now. And they were good against Turkey, right? We think Turkey are a good side, and they were better than them the whole game, really. And like I said, that Ronaldo pass is critical, because if he shoots, he might not score, right? We don't know that, but he's doing it. If he's passing to you now in the better chances, with the players they've got to score those chances, it's looking quite frightening. It's no longer just give him the ball and he'll have a shot. He's realizing if he passes the ball, they have more chances created, right? That's important. And that to me is what's impressed me a lot, seeing that change in dynamic with this team that I've been so critical and I think have underachieved for too many years. They won Euro 2016, and in a way they underachieved because they barely won a game. So I can't knock their improvement under Martinez, and the whole team deserves credit, in my opinion. But you're right, they should be going through that group. But normally we'd expect them to scrape through that group in what we've seen of them over the last few years. Maybe 4 points, take a 1-0 win or whatever. Now they're cruising.
We've had our say, but now it is time for you guys to join the conversation. Make sure you are following. Details are below: Instagram, TikTok, and of course YouTube. But as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You know the drill.